Get on with you. Get on with me staying here.
Yes! That's only the start of it! That's only the start!
Dublin is infamous for its history of criminal activity and home to some of Ireland's most dangerous gangsters. But even with that reputation, what happened in January 2020 left the nation stunned. On January 13th, a desperate plea for help appeared on Facebook. A post from a worried sister searching for her missing brother. It read,
"Has anyone seen my brother? He's only 17 and has been missing since yesterday evening. No one has heard from him or can get through to him, and even the people he's usually with are texting me looking for him."
What started as a missing persons case quickly turned into one of Ireland's most gruesome and chilling crimes. Keane Mulready-Woods, just 17 years old, had been brutally murdered, dismembered, and decapitated in what would become one of the country's most horrifying killings. Stay tuned as we uncover the details of this shocking case and the dark underworld that led to such a tragic and violent end. 13th January 2020. 10 p.m., a discovery in Drogheda, Ireland, would shock the entire nation. A group of children stumbled across a sports bag. Inside, they found something unimaginable: human limbs. These remains were later identified as belonging to 17-year-old Keane Mulready-Woods. But the chilling details didn't stop there. Also found in the bag was a pair of flip-flops. At first glance, the flip-flops might seem like a strange detail, but they held a sinister meaning. They were a calculated symbol of revenge and a chilling warning from one of Ireland's most feared gangsters, Robbie Lawlor. Known for his ruthless reputation, Lawlor was no stranger to violence. But this act was particularly brutal, even by his standards. How did Keane become the target of such a heinous crime? 1 month earlier, Robbie Lawlor was ambushed outside a gym in Dublin. A group of youths attacked him, stole his gym bag, and left him humiliated. The incident was filmed and shared widely on social media.
Get on with you. Get on with me staying here.
Yes! That's only the start of it! That's only the start of it! That's only the start of it, Robbie!
Adding insult to injury, photos soon surfaced of the individuals mocking him, wearing his stolen flip-flops. For someone like Lawlor, whose reputation was built on fear and control, this public humiliation was unforgivable. But who was Keane Mulready-Woods, and how did he end up in the crosshairs of one of Ireland's most brutal gang feuds? Keane was a popular teenager from Drogheda, attending St. Oliver's Community College. He came from a well-liked, working-class family and had a passion for motocross, even owning his own scrambler bike. However, like many young people in disadvantaged areas, Keane was lured into petty crime. The promise of money, designer clothes, and respect proved irresistible. Unfortunately, this path led him straight into the dangerous world of gang violence. Keane's descent into the criminal underworld was rapid. Perhaps this was influenced by his connection to his godfather, Owen Maguire, a notorious gang leader. Keane became involved with Maguire's drug gang at a time when their feud with a rival group was escalating. Known as the Drogheda feud, this conflict would become one of Ireland's most infamous gang wars. Keane wasn't just an observer, he was expected to participate. He carried out missions like smashing windows and throwing petrol bombs at the homes of those who owed drug debts. These actions, while seemingly minor, made him a target in a dangerous and escalating gang war. What happened to Keane was not just a tragic end for a young man lured into crime. It was also a stark reminder of the brutal reality of gang violence. His murder shocked the nation and exposed the devastating impact of Ireland's criminal underworld. 12th of January 2020 marked the last time 17-year-old Keane Mulready-Woods would leave his home. Earlier that evening, he had called his mother, asking her to leave money out for a taxi so he could return home later. What Keane didn't know was that he was walking straight into a deadly trap. Keane was lured into the company of Paul Crosby, a known associate of the feared gangster Robbie Lawlor. Gerard Cruise served as the driver, transporting them to 31 Rathmullen Park, a house closely tied to Crosby and Lawlor's operations. Waiting for him inside was Robbie Lawlor, a man whose name alone struck fear in the criminal underworld. Initially, it's believed the plan was to intimidate Keane, to rough him up as a warning. but the night took a far darker turn. Once inside the house, Keane was overpowered, beaten, and tortured. According to reports, Robbie Lawlor delivered the fatal blow, stabbing Keane in the neck and leaving him bleeding on the floor. But this wasn't where the horror ended. Lawlor, showing the brutal precision for which he was notorious, proceeded to dismember Keane's body. Using a knife, he meticulously cut the young man into pieces. Though Paul Crosby and Gerard Cruise did not directly participate in the killing, their roles were essential. Crosby helped coordinate the trap, while Cruise acted as the getaway driver, ensuring Keane reached his grim fate. What makes this case even more chilling is the purpose behind the crime. Lawlor wasn't trying to conceal evidence. Instead, he wanted Keane's death to send a clear, concise message to his enemies. He packed Keane's remains into a black Puma sports bag, accompanied by an eerie addition: a pair of flip-flops, a symbolic reference to Lawlor's earlier humiliation at the hands of a rival gang. The disposal of Keane's remains was equally calculated. The sports bag containing his limbs was discarded in Kulak, while his head and hands were placed in a burning car in Drumcondra. Further remains, including his torso, were found at a location in Rathmullen Park. This gruesome act sent shockwaves through Ireland and solidified Lawlor's reputation for cold-blooded savagery. A single motive for the murder was never officially confirmed by investigators, but strong indications point to Keane's close ties with his godfather, Owen Maguire, a notorious gang leader and rival to Robbie Lawlor. In 2018, Owen Maguire became the target of a brutal assassination attempt that left him paralyzed. The shooter was later confirmed to be Robbie Lawlor. December 2019. Just weeks before the murder, Lawlor was confronted by youths outside the gym and humiliated, which also could have been the motive. As Maguire's godson, Keane was viewed as part of Maguire's inner circle, making him a target in the escalating Drogheda gang feud. Although there has been no direct link to the possible motive, the sports bag found containing flip-flops gave investigators some indication, as these were stolen from Lawlor. Keane's tragic death remains one of the most shocking and brutal cases in Ireland's history, serving as a grim reminder of the lengths criminals will go to maintain control and dominance in a violent underworld. 13th February 2020. A funeral was held for Keane. A priest at the funeral of the teenager killed and dismembered said the murder had caused an unparalleled level of revulsion, and urged his friends to learn from his mistakes, getting involved with dangerous criminals, thinking some of them were his friends, and yet they would sacrifice him in such a brutal manner. Keane's murder only further fueled the drug feud between the gangs. Only a few months after the brutal murder of Keane Woods, Robbie Lawlor met his fate. 4 April 2020. Lawlor was shot dead outside Adrian Holland's home at Etna Drive in the Ardoyne area of North Belfast. A gunman emerged from the house and opened fire in broad daylight. Lawlor was pronounced dead at the scene. It was believed he was in Belfast to collect a drugs debt. However, the shooting was planned weeks earlier by 3 criminals. 2 women were also caught with €50,000, which police believe to be part payment for the hit on Lawlor. In a shocking twist to Ireland's Drogheda feud, Cornelius Price, a well-known gang boss, reportedly paid over €100,000 to have Robbie Lawlor assassinated. According to reports from the Irish Mirror, Price orchestrated a fake hit to lure Lawlor into a deadly trap in Belfast. The plan, involving contacts in Mountjoy prison, took weeks to set up. Price, who fled to Britain in February 2020 after being released from prison, was reportedly terrified that Lawlor would kill him first. Lawlor had vowed revenge against Price, blaming him for the murder of his brother-in-law. However, Price and his associates were outraged by the brutality of Keane Woods' killing and felt Lawlor had taken the feud to an entirely new level. Moving his family to Rochdale, England, Price planned Lawlor's assassination, a move described by Gardaí as something out of a Narcos episode. Price even posted a video on social media celebrating Lawlor's death.
The video. It says to Robbie Lawlor, boys, rest in peace. He's not even worth saying rest in peace, but fair play to you. There you go, boys.
Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan.
Although Patrick Tier and Adrian Holland have been charged with Lawlor's murder, and James Fields with assisting offenders, the investigation remains ongoing. Ironically, both men at the center of this feud, Price and Lawlor met their ends. Lawlor was killed in a gangland hit, and Price succumbed to a brain disease in 2023. Meanwhile, the aftermath of Keane Mulready-Woods' murder brought some justice. Paul Crosby and Gerard Cruise, who lured Woods to the location where Lawlor killed him, were sentenced to 10 and 7 years respectively. Stephen Carberry, accused of disposing of Woods' remains, also faces charges. Gardaí continue to investigate, hoping to bring more perpetrators to justice.